Hello, I am Yogini Sunita, and this is Meditation, Yoga, and Stuff podcast. I believe my dharma or my life's purpose is to share my understanding of meditation, yoga, and Ayurveda, holistic healing science of India. I make these amazing wisdoms accessible and adaptable for present times. So let's start.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about trauma. So as you know that today's topic is let's talk about trauma. Let's start with what types of trauma there are. There are many types of trauma. Acute trauma, where the trauma results from single traumatic event such as natural disaster, car accident, violent assault. All this can trigger acute trauma. Chronic trauma, this type of trauma results from ongoing exposure to traumatic events such as abuse, neglect, war, living with high crime area and things like that. Then also there is something called complex trauma. This trauma is also known as developmental trauma. This is ongoing exposure of multiple traumatic events, particularly during childhood, and it includes physical, emotional, mental, sexual abuse, neglect. All these can come as under this trauma, the violence of other forms as well. Then psychological trauma, this type of trauma refers to the psychological impact of traumatic event. It includes symptoms of anxiety, depression, flashbacks, nightmares. Then also there is a trauma, it occurs when someone is exposed to the trauma of others. Basically, we energetically kind of like take on board someone else's trauma. Happens to empathetic people. And this trauma may happen with first responders, healthcare workers, therapists. And I would also go ahead and say that very empathetic yoga teachers and meditation teachers. So this is something which kind of like people take on board energetically. And then also there is secondary trauma, which is a trauma occurs when we are indirectly affected by a traumatic event, like a family member, a friend of us who is a survivor. And this can be, this is also, I think, energetic thing which we kind of like take on board their trauma because we love them, and that's how this secondary trauma can affect us. And then also there is a collective trauma. Collective trauma is basically a large group of people feel that the similar trauma. This could be, we can see that, country's trauma, country going through something together, natural disaster, terrorist attack, all this can be collective trauma. And when we go through something like this, I will also add chronic illnesses where you are constantly going through a lot of physical pain that also create traumatic experience. Also, experiences like emptiness syndrome can create trauma. Symptoms of trauma. There is also so many examples like how emotionally, mentally we can say that these are trauma. And nowadays we are talking about it. So far we never talked about it, but you can see now people are slowly and steadily started opening up about their trauma, started talking about it, started realizing that what causes trauma. And this is obviously affects the mental health of a person, of community. And from yogic point of view, we can call these as sanskaras. And these sanskaras basically latent impressions of our experiences. And we store this in our system. So what happens that when we store these experiences, these traumas in our system, they're bound to come out one way or the other. We may have mental, physical, emotional issues and things like that. And it is, you can start seeing, when you start seeing the bigger picture, we start seeing that how this trauma is affected not just one person, but maybe generations. There are experiences also like people who had someone went, their grandfather went to the war, and they experiencing that trauma in their body. So it's very interesting, like how we energetically carry trauma as well for generations. And also we also experience this in our system because we have DNA, which we carry this information of trauma of our previous generation. Also, we have our own karma or our own life where we are experiencing our own traumas, our own experiences, and we are also creating this experience in our whole being. So what happens that, like, what is the solution to all this? Like, how can we deal with trauma? So there are a few suggestions we can do is seeking support, like talking to someone you trust about what you're going through. Now, I know it is not very easy to talk about it. And so how can we find this trusted person? Sometimes people try to talk with loved ones and they are brushed off. And this happens quite some time because also loved ones may have their own stories and they just don't want to go through this experience with you, or don't want to even touch this subject. And this is that, their own way of dealing with this trauma. So in this case, if loved one is not open to talk with, or if you don't feel like they will be open to talk with, then maybe finding some professional help. There are amazing counselors and psychologists you can talk with. They will help you. Family members or therapists are really, one way to go. Also, there are support groups if that works for you. So finding your sangha means like-minded people working together. So something like that maybe works for you. And having that, support, basically, seeking support is very important. Then you won't feel so alone in your struggles, in your journey, So having support is extremely important. In wisdom of yoga, sangha, or sometimes also known as kula, is very important. Basically, this is sangha means people who are like-minded people who will support each other to grow, and they will also help you through what you're going through, and also you help them through what they are going through. So it is a nice way to grow together. And this kind of communities, the dynamic communities where this happens, these are very powerful. And nowadays we are fortunate enough to connect through the internet, so we don't have to feel isolated. Like I know that some people don't like, the modern technology or internet, but I look at it this way, that it is here now. There is some reason that this technology is here. So there is always good and bad to anything. So how about we focus on what is good here? And personally, I have done masters in computers, so I have no issue with computers. I use it to connect with others. My clients, I connect to them through this medium. Especially when the pandemic happened, actually internet was very, very valuable to connect with my client. I continue teaching through these medium. And even now, I'm part of a group which is in America, which is like-minded healers, yoga teachers, Ayurveda practitioners working together. And once a week, we are on this Zoom call where having people going through similar things, in a sense, like we are all healer, trying to find a way to how to make these services we offer more accessible to people in this world. And so we help each other to grow, and it is a beautiful way to have this kind of like a strong community around you. And I truly believe that it is very, very helpful for my mental, emotional health and also physical health, because we cheer each other to also look after ourselves, like self-care. We talk about that. If I have any question, I put on our board, notice board, and immediately someone will answer. And such a beautiful suggestion. So having something like this, any way, any form, what works for you. Maybe internet doesn't work for you, that's okay. You can find physical group, finding a group. Book club is another thing. We can become part of book club. Is also very valuable. Basically, finding your sangha, your community, is going to be very valuable. Then another thing is taking care of your physical health. What happens that when we eat right for our system, we exercise regularly and get enough sleep, that helps us to keep our physical and emotional health. Even though we went through trauma, what happens that the physical health and eating right will really keep the body sustained and positive. Now, sometimes what happens that when we go through physical trauma, the mind goes into, oh, what's the point, And this is where consciously finding a way to move a little bit every day, you find your what works for you. For me, nature walk and asana, yoga asana practices, breathing practices really, really work. So I follow that. I also, when I go for walk, there is a beautiful path where I go for walk, and there is also a beautiful green patch. And there I see this amazing group of young people. Young people, I say, because they're 70 years old, but their body is like so flexible. And they come together and they practice Tai Chi. And I'm just fascinated by this beautiful group who does this, and they help each other practice. And afterwards, I also see them, chatting. It's a really beautiful way to do the physical movement. It's Tai Chi is more of energetic movement, but also connecting with each other. So maybe something like that works for you, or nice asana class where you go and practice together with your friends. That can also create sangha as well as physical health, or walking in the nature, enjoying the nature at the same time. You are becoming one with the nature. That's also really good for our emotional and mental health. So maybe that is for you. I know that one of my friend loves to go for jogging in the morning, and that's her way to wake up. No matter what, she will go for her miles and miles of jogging. But she is one with the universe at that time. She is in her zone. She does it every day, and she really believes that gives her so much strength throughout the day. And she has autoimmune health condition, but she still make sure that she is doing this regularly, and it has really helped her on so many levels. So something like that maybe is your way to look after yourself. That's fine too. Food. I mean, there are so many diets now. Suggesting food can be very tricky. So whatever, again, I would say whatever works for you, really tune into that. What gives you more energy? What gives you prana? Looking at your food, do you feel the joy of eating? And eating your food, do you enjoy the taste? And when you eat your food, how do you feel? Do you feel energized? Do you feel lethargic? What's happening? When you eat at night, are you able to sleep at night after that? So noticing all these things and then modifying your diet according to your needs. Then also practicing meditation, relaxation techniques, because what happens that during trauma, we go into that, or any traumatic experience in our life, we are in sympathetic mode, whereas we are we almost like always a flight and fight mode, and so to come out of this, we had to relearn our relaxation. Our system needs to come out of that flight and fight mode. And it is so much there that it is sometimes that flight and fight mode is so much constantly in background that we don't know uh, that we are okay. Even though we are in safe environment, we are constantly alert and cannot relax. If that is what you are experiencing, then it is time to start learning how to relax. And this is what, we start with, almost like fake it till we make it. And so this is where yoga's techniques are absolutely fantastic. Like the shavasana or guided relaxation can be very powerful. So shavasana is something, a direct translation of shavasana is basically corpse pose. So we are lying down without any movement, and we try not to move, and we try to body scanning our body, and there are few different techniques in that. You can start with your right foot, then from there your whole right leg, then left leg, and then your rest of your body. Or you can start with your right arm and then your right side of your body, left leg, left arm. So there are different techniques. Doesn't matter what techniques you're doing. What matters is, are you enjoying it? If yes, doing it more often. So find a guided relaxation technique which will work for you. Little bit advanced technique is yoga nidra. Yoga nidra is a little bit longer, and it is with intention. So yoga nidra can be very powerful to come out of trauma. Having said that, there are so many yoga nidra floating out there that I would actually say word of caution that choose right practice. How to choose right practice? Well, if you have you have yoga practice, you have yoga teacher, learn from them directly so they can see when you are in this practice what's happening with you. There is also I have also done podcast episode on yoga nidra. Listen to that, and also I have done a podcast on yoga nidra relaxation. So see if you want to, if you like it, but make sure that you're comfortable and you're enjoying the practice. That is very important. I explain how to keep the sankalpa or intention during this time. So go back to those episodes and listen to them first. Both episodes of Yoga Nidra, what is Yoga Nidra, and how to keep Sankalpa are very short, but they're very valuable. And then you can do the Yoga Nidra and see if that works for you. Yoga Nidra, you don't have to do it every day. You can do it once a week to begin with, and then maybe possibly twice a week. But you can do the shavasana, the guided relaxation. You can do it every day if you want. Before you go to sleep, will be very valuable. You can also use something called restorative yoga. Restorative yoga is where you hold poses, yoga asana poses, long period of time with a lot of support. And what it does, it relaxes our system, like the body start relaxing. And according to yoga, our body is slow, mind, but the side effect of body slowing down is mind slows down. And when mind slows down, body slows down. It's a beautiful experience. So try that as well. You can also do yoga asana practices where they're designed in such a way that they will help you to relax. If you go to my website, there is a membership program which I'm offering, where I'm offering 4 asana classes, 2 meditation sessions, and then Ayurveda tips. So this will all help you, and also journal, positive journal, and this will help you to come out of the trauma. And it is a monthly membership. You don't have to commit for a year or so. Try it out, see how you feel, and all the prices on my website are in Australian dollars, so 50 something Australian dollar, I don't remember top of my head, but it's not very expensive, but you get a lot out of that. So my always intention is to help others, so I will be giving way more than what it costs, but intention is also that, helping people. So see if that works for you. It is really, these practices are designed to help you relax, help you calm down. Now, another thing is, we can add to all this, how to look after ourselves, is self-care. What happens that when we go through trauma or grief, we really suffer on all levels, mental, physical, emotional level, spiritual level as well. So here, we go into maybe negative thought process or loop, and so to come out of that, when we start paying attention towards our needs. For example, if you need to rest, go ahead and rest. If you need to take that bubble bath today, take that, to soothe your body. If you need to eat amazing food, spend time, create that food and have that, enjoy that. So whatever is self-care for you, maybe massage. For me, acupuncture. I found this amazing lady who does beautiful job. And so acupuncture, maybe that will work for you. Whatever works for you, really, finding a way to look after yourself. Maybe that cup of coffee which you value, maybe that is something, your self-care. So anyway, possible looking after yourself. Engaging into taking care of yourself is also very important to come out of the trauma. What happens that a lot of our energy go into this negative thought process, so we kind of like creating this break to those thoughts, and we bring in more positive loop of thoughts in our system. So you can bring in more thoughts which are positive by just looking after yourself. If you don't want to go and take massage, you can try and do yourself, gently applying oil to your hands. Like in Ayurveda, we use lots of oils, like healing oils. You can use that to massage your arms, your legs, and you will start noticing the muscles start relaxing. That helps. If you are coming out of any physical trauma like pain, like I have recently gone through a couple of years of continuous excruciating pain. Initially, I wasn't ready to let anyone touch me, even myself. Like, there was no way I would have gone there. Also, a lot of people suggested me that cold shower will help. But I'll tell you, I was in so much pain that just the thought of that was not possible for me, But what I invested in was a sauna, and this is like a blanket sauna, like you lie down, you crawl into it. Basically, it's a smaller size, and you wrap it around you, and it creates like that effect of infrared sauna. And that was very valuable that time. Now that I am a little bit better, I started cold shower, and I'll tell you what, it really works, really, really works. Those cold showers, especially now in Australia, we're going through peak summer. So I love my cold showers. They wake me up. They also reduces my physical pain, which is it's still there. It's gone. We can say like 50% is gone, but 50% is still there. And so this cold shower really helps to reduce that, and I value that now. But when I was in pain, and especially like last couple of years, there was no way I would have gone, because the pain was too much. It was I wasn't even thinking straight, to be very frank. And so now I'm coming out of that trauma. I started, slow walks. I started my gentle asana classes and things like that, which really is helping me to get better. Also patience, like I had to learn it very hard way, that there is new normal now. And so if you are going through something like a physical pain, like some arthritis or autoimmune disease, it's something I experienced through this Ross River virus, which happens with mosquito bite. It was similar to the joint pains like rheumatoid arthritis or autoimmune pain, and I can tell you it's really, 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 really too much. It's not really easy to explain. So if you have someone in your life who are going through these conditions, please be kind, please be gentle, because they are really suffering. So try and support them, help them as much as you can. And because these pains are so excruciating, these, not just these, but any form of these kind of pains are excruciating. So if you have someone in your life, please look after them. I tell you, it's not really, really, the experience is so painful that the mind, body, everything is affected by it. Then what else can we do to look after ourselves? Is it possible to express yourself through creativity, like writing, drawing, painting? Because creativity is, according to wisdom of yoga, is a direct link to the divine. So any form of creativity you have, and it could be writing, it could be drawing, it could be painting, or anything. I know one of my friend is really good at crochet, and that really helps with her anxiety. So maybe you like to knit or crochet. If that is your creativity, that's beautiful. Any way you can express yourself through, you express yourself through creative expression. And it could be any simple thing or really complicated thing, but it should give you joy. Something that creative expression is very valuable. So finding something like that will help you to work with your kind of like almost release stress. And creativity is a joyous experience. So finding that, what helps you to do that. My personal creative thing is I love to make jewelry, and I love to do something with my hands. So jewelry or knitting or painting, all these are my favorite things, depending on what my mood is. So I have these supplies I buy from Opt Shop, and I spend time. I recently did lots of rugs for floor. So each and every my room has rugs which I made with the crochet and things like that. also having small goals. I learned this valuable lesson when I went through this excruciating physical pain. And so I was talking with my counselor. She's an expert in pain management. And I said to her, like, I can't even vacuum my house, and I can't even, sit up and type emails in the morning because my hands are stiff, because that's how I was. Like, I was hobbling to the table, my legs were swollen, hands were swollen, and I find it really, really painful. And then also, my house was not to the standard which I thought, you know, being almost perfectionist, like it wasn't clean enough and things like that. But these are the stories my brain was creating. What was valuable here was that she gave me small goals. So she said, okay, so what is troubling you the most today? And I said to her, well, I can't even vacuum my house. She said, okay, let's see where we can start. And she said, how long can you vacuum? Like, how much time, And I said to her, 2 minutes is my limit. She said, that's wonderful. So you're going to do 2 minutes vacuum, sit down, take few breaths. If you feel like you're going to do 2 minutes more, or you can do that 2 minutes tomorrow. So these kind of like literally I had to relearn how to walk, how to, vacuum, how to start typing without feeling pain in hands. And I had dropped my phone 100 times. So not dropping phone that day is achievement. So these small goals were very, very valuable, and started to learn to celebrate those. So small goals are extremely important. And this new normal is really important, because what happened that I started breaking down my larger task into very, very small chunks which are achievable. And then I started realizing that, oh, I can manage it this way. I felt in control and I felt motivated. So next, like after a few weeks, I started doing 5 minutes vacuum, and I'm like, oh my God, I have achieved something. So these kind of like things, kind of like new normal, learning that and having small goals is helps us to keep motivated and helps us to feel in control, basically. And I again cannot stress this enough about going to a professional for help, because and even then I would say that find professional help which is specialized, because I went for counseling when this happened to me, and everything was online that time. And first a couple of counselors, and my situation didn't gel very well there, because they didn't understand what was happening. So my daughter actually found out this pain specialist, psychologist, or counselor, I should say, who knew how to help me. And her help was so valuable that she set me in the right direction. So first couple of experience, I would not really blame the counselors, because they were not trained to deal with the situation I was in. So they were helping me, but it was, so the first counselor actually started taking me into like where this is coming from, and in the past, past experiences. But the thing is, I was already in so much pain that I would have not faced the past pain. My issue was I needed to do something now with the life happening now. And this is what this particular counselor did for me. And it was so good in a way, like, I realized that her help had been really, really tremendously amazing. And just few sessions, I think I just did 4 or 5 sessions, but she set me to right direction. So finding right help, like professional help, even that, what really you need. So start noticing what you really need. Start asking around. I have this condition. Whom can I find? Because that's what exactly my daughter did. She talked with her friend who is psychologist, and her friend suggested that there are these specialized counselors who can really help you, and she gave few numbers, and so I started calling, and I realized that okay, I like this particular person, and I went ahead with her session, and I absolutely experienced so much support, and I felt like she was listening, and she was also giving me those small goals which were very valuable. She was helping me understand like how much pressure I'm putting on myself to be what is normal, and so I had to come back to what is new normal, and it was been very very valuable to have her in my life at that time, so finding right professional help is really really important. Also remember that healing takes time. Like even now I'm dealing with so much through this Ross River, like quickly sitting on the floor is even now is not possible, but at least I am able to sit on floor now, so which is fantastic, which wasn't possible few months ago. Then also one size fit all, it's not there, so you'll have to reinvent or find your own solutions and your own what works for you, because you know yourself the best. So if someone tells you that this should work for you and it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Choose what is right for you. And I'm going to say this about any practices you're going to do: asana practice, meditation practice, relaxation practice. You should feel comfortable. This is very valuable, because if you're not comfortable in that relaxation state, if you're not really able to rest, and if you're stressing your system, then it is actually doing harm to you than give you benefit. Similar with asana practice, like what's the point of going into pretzel? What is the purpose of your practice? If the purpose is flexibility, fantastic. But if the purpose is relaxation, then stretching your body unnecessarily is really not going to give you that goal. I hope that you understand what I'm saying. Like, choose the right practices for yourself. I'm not dissing the strong practices. They are valuable. They have their own need in our life. But also choose where are you at in your life, and then choose the practices according to your need. This is my suggestion to deal with trauma of any sort. I hope that this helps you. Again, as I said, like I'm changing the business name. I mentioned this last week as well. Sunita Yoga is no more. New name is the Wellness Business. And there are a lot of new things coming. I'm also forming a group where I'm going to help people for one whole year. Every week we'll be meeting. And the reason for that is like things like trauma, things like any change or wellness to bring in our life. We need constant support as well as constant help. That way, if we have 1 year's help, you will have this as your practice. And after a lot of thought, I realized that this is the way to go. So hang in there. I'll explain it very soon that what I am doing. But these are now new and exciting things are happening, and I'm really looking forward to support you all, help you with my experience of yoga, Ayurveda, meditation. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate that you're taking this time out of your day. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye for now.